Okay, Kapowians, I have Tristan with me today from Geek Plate. Thanks for joining us today on Kapow.
Thank you for having me, Sonia.
Happy Halloween. It's very exciting happening here.
Good time for food, Halloween.
Oh yes, so Geek Plate. What's Geek Plate?
Geek Plate is, I guess, the quick way of saying it is cosplay for food.
Brilliant. I think that's brilliant.
It's basically, my attempt to recreate food and drink and anything edible, anything consumable that appears in popular culture, so movies, books, TV shows, comics.
Cool, because it does make the world, like food makes the world in a lot of these kind of fantasy elements.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's one of the really grounding elements. When something has food in it, you really remember it, because no matter how out there a fantasy world is, the need to eat kind of grounds everything. I mean, when you think of the lambus bread in the Lord of the Rings stories.
I've always wanted to eat some.
Yeah, that's the reaction everyone has, even though they describe it as being really dry.
You still want some.
That's exactly right, yeah.
So what was the inspiration behind creating Geek Plate?
Well, I'm a food writer and photographer in my professional life, and a big geek outside of that. So it was a really an opportunity. When I had the idea, I was excited because it was an opportunity to combine those things, I guess, and to I guess have a focus when I'm watching something. You know, a lot of people like to participate, and again, that's where the cosplay for food comes from, because a cosplayer tends to watch things and have ideas about how they can sort of participate in that world. I liked having an idea that meant I could do the same thing without having to dress up.
Awesome. What was the first thing you food cosplayed?
It was a Krusty Burger.
Excellent. Of course. Everyone knows Krusty Burger.
That was my philosophy. I tried to recreate all the packaging and you know, the chips box and the drink box and the tray, and then sort of reset it back into the Simpsons environment with the animated background. Even if you don't watch the show anymore, everyone knows what a Krusty Burger is.
Everyone knows it's there. So you've brought a couple of things along today, which I get to eat. So I'm so excited about this. What have we got? Talk me through it, Tristan.
Things that I have made from Game of Thrones. I've made Sansa's lemon cakes, which is something that she gets, I think, partially bribed with from time to time.
She's quite fond of them.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of food in the Game of Thrones universe. A lot of things happen. There's a lot of wine as well. A lot of things happen around meal times. There's lots of preparation of food, skinning of animals and things. It's a really visceral part of that world. But lemon cakes sort of seemed a little bit nicer than having an entire boar be
I guess it's probably
skinned on the table.
Easier to carry as well.
Absolutely. Well, I caught the bus here, so it was going to be difficult.
Awesome. So while you tell Kapowians what a lemon cake, Sansa's lemon cake is, I'm going to try one because they look amazing. So how have you made these?
Well, I tried to get a recipe that was a lemon cake recipe that was closer to the sort of medieval recipes. So it sort of fit into that fantasy world instead of being some light, airy angel food cake or something like that definitely wouldn't have existed at King's Landing. And then really, because most of the food is actually constructed for photography, I have to put a lot of thought into how it's going to look. So with these, I've soaked them in a lemon syrup as well, so that they hopefully taste all right.
They taste amazing.
But so that they also kind of look nice and moist even when they're photographed in the studio.
I would totally get bribed by these. These are amazing. Okay, I'm going to put that one back there for later. What's next?
Next, well, from the Harry Potter universe, of which I am personally an enormous fan, we have butterbeer, which people will remember from Hogsmeade, predominantly, the 3 broomsticks. And this is, I think in Harry Potter it's described as being mildly alcoholic, but only enough to get a gnome or a house elf. Slightly tipsy, yeah. So I think it'll be fine for us.
I'm gonna. This is weird. Woo!
Yep.
I think I'm gonna drink off my skull face, unfortunately. That's delicious. Okay, so last but not least.
Right. Well,
I know what's in there.
Chances are that you'll know what this is just from looking at the container that it's in. But from Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, these are the monkey brains.
Its head comes off. Oh, that's quite horrific.
So I guess the thing, the important thing here was making it look horrible. So, hey, I've got a spoon for you.
Oh, great. Look at that.
And I invite you to go deep because I think the important thing is when you're eating monkey brains, you want to get every layer of the monkey brain.
If I don't survive this Kapowians, it's his fault. You know this.
It is.
Oh, it's quite gross. Okay. But it's quite delicious.
That's what I tell you.
So obviously, it's not monkey brains. What is it made from?
That's a vanilla custard with marshmallow whipped cream, which is creating the lumps on top there, and then some pureed plums and cherries to make the red sauce.
That's really delicious. I think that's possibly my favourite thing here. So, with Halloween coming up, we have themed parties. So, say if they're doing like a Game of Thrones theme party or a Harry Potter theme, what's kind of your rules for the food?
Oh, there's definitely no rules. But I think that it's a really good idea to stay on theme as much as possible because decorating things obviously goes a long way and dressing up goes a long way, but food's something that everyone hopes to have at a party, and it's a really good opportunity to get into the theme. So the first thing that I would do is scour either the source material if you're a big fan, or the internet if you need some tips on food that exists in that universe already. So with Game of Thrones, you would definitely try and get some sort of meat to carve on the table, I guess, or you would get lemon cake. So there's an abundance of food that you can find from that universe. Failing actual ideas, I would just also caution with recipes online that there's often it's a good idea to test the recipes first because they can be a little bit uneven, and you don't want the worst thing in the world is to be 20 minutes away from people arriving at the door and you've got face makeup on and your custard monkey brains aren't setting.
No, that would be disaster.
And failing actual food that comes from the world, it's always a good idea to go for puns. So for Game of Thrones, I might make a nice big King's Flanding.
Punny. That's excellent. So if Kapowans, who I'm sure will be really interested to see some more of your fantastic creations, where can they find Geekplate?
So geekplate.com is the website, and there's a Twitter at Geekplate, which is also the Instagram and the Facebook.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much for bringing these along. I'm just going to finish this cake off just because it's rude not to.
I might have a Twinkie since I didn't have to make those.
Twinkies and Reese's Pieces. It's brilliant. Thank you so much for coming along, Tristan.
Thanks for having me, Sonia.
Thanks.